And welcome back to the show. I am Bill Tucker, and I'm happy to have him with me today. My co-host, Jessica McLean. There she is. All right, phone lines are open. You want to talk? You want to weigh in? Give us a call. 877-Newsmax. That is 877-639-7629. Now, we mentioned this in our last hour. The 45th annual March for Life took place today in Washington, D.C. More than 50,000 people were expected to take part in the event, and one of those people is none other than our next guest. But just judging from the photographs that I've seen, well over 50,000 people took place in this participated in the march. We're pleased to welcome in now Father Frank Pavone. He is the National Director of Priests for Life. He's president of the National Pro-Life Religious Council. He's author of the book, Abolishing Abortion. You know, Father, it's always great to have you on. It's really nice to have you on a day like this. I know you're not a scientist, okay? But there look like more than 50,000 people out there. Tell us, how many people do you think were there, and do you call it a success?
It was a success, and there were several 100,000. I wouldn't be surprised if there were between 300,000 and 400,000. I've been coming to this march since 1976. I also go to the Walk for Life West Coast, which will be happening a week from tomorrow. The Walk for Life West Coast gets about 50,000. This one is many times larger than that. And I tell you, it was a very young, enthusiastic crowd, very diverse crowd as well.
Wonderful. Welcome, Father Frank.
Thank you, Jessica.
It's interesting, you know, there was a poll put out, well-timed, as a matter of fact, a Marist poll saying that 76% of Americans support abortion restrictions, okay? Only 12% do not support any restrictions. Get an abortion anytime you wanna. The country is overwhelmingly on your side, Father, which has got to be very heartening to you.
Yes. Well, you know, it's heartening. We see today we had the three top leaders in our government speak to us live: the president, the vice president, and the Speaker of the House. And today there was another vote in Congress on a pro-life measure that passed the House overwhelmingly to protect babies who actually survive an abortion and unfortunately are often killed anyway inside these abortion clinics. So we see cultural progress. We see progress in the legislative progress, and the crowd's enthusiasm reflected that today.
And I truly believe that there are far more pro-life supporters out there than people are really aware of. And I think sometimes people might be afraid to come forward and support that because they're afraid of the rejection.
But let me tell you why. What's happening here is this. First of all, many people will define themselves with the term pro-choice. It sounds very American. It sounds very good. Right. But when you start asking them, how far into the pregnancy do you think abortion should be legal, they'll cut it off pretty early.
Because it's extremely controversial, and they don't want to get to that level of a conversation, so they just deflect.
Right. And one of the things I did today, I preached at the National Prayer Service, which I organized on the morning of the march, and I played a recording of that we staged. I've been calling these legal abortion clinics. Woman who asked for a 30-week abortion. She was healthy. The baby was healthy. And they gave her the appointment. Now, you ask your pro-choice friends if they think that's okay. I'll guarantee you.
Of course they'd say yes. They don't see anything wrong with that.
No, you know what? I think I'm going to come down on the father's side. I think if you ask somebody, listen, do you think it's okay to abort a baby that is more than 5 months, almost 6? Well, it's actually more than 6 months along. They immediately are going to go, no, that should never happen. That's in fact 28 weeks, 7 months, for heaven's sake. You know, you mentioned that the vice president and the president spoke today. This was the first time that a sitting president has directly spoken to the crowd. And I'm going to play a little piece of that sound just so those who missed it might get a chance to hear it.
The March for Life is a movement born out of love. You love your families, you love your neighbors, you love our nation, and you love every child, born and unborn, because you believe that every life is sacred, that every child is a precious gift from God.
I suspect that you probably want to say amen at the end of that, Father.
Father, I have a question for you. This is interesting twist with the abortion issue happening. What are your thoughts and feelings on, let's say, someone in a family is a victim of rape, incest, molestation, and the results end up in a pregnancy at various terms? Do you would you make a possible exception for someone of that circumstance to get an abortion? Or what are your thoughts? I would like to know.
Well, the question we all have to ask is, would an abortion help that woman? We're all concerned about that woman. We all understand the
Correct.
violence and trauma of rape. The question is, well, what benefit would an abortion bring to her? And there have been studies done on this, and we find that the abortion itself brings additional trauma. I just came back before this interview from another event we organized here, the Silent No More campaign.
Yep.
40 women gave their public testimony in front of the steps of the Supreme Court about how abortion traumatized them, ruined their relationships, destroyed their lives. And the question is, if someone has been through the trauma of rape, do we really want to put them through another trauma, or should we find better solutions?
So psychologically, the prolonged effects are even more devastating, is what you're saying, if someone chooses to have that abortion.
Far more devastating, and we know that this is not just a belief or a speculation. We know that from experience because we work with these women every day. So that's what, because when people ask that question, well, first of all, we're talking about 1% or less of all the abortions that occur. An important group of people we're concerned about. But when people ask that question, what they're really asking is, aren't you concerned about that woman? And we say, of course we are. Like the president said, this is a movement of love.
Well, the health of both the mother and the baby is the important factor here. Yeah.
Well, really quickly on that topic. I mean, now it seems to me, anecdotally, Father, you speak to it factually, that there are more organizations now than ever before, so that if a woman is pregnant and she does not feel she would be a good mother for whatever reason, she doesn't want to care for that baby, there are organizations that are out there for them, right?
To help or put the baby up for adoption.
The great news is there are pregnancy centers that outnumber the abortion clinics 5 to 1.
Yes.
The national networks of pregnancy centers, which we at Priests for Life interact with every day, we're here today at this march, and they made again the public promise, and I say this to all our viewers and listeners, if you're pregnant and in need, we are with you. We will help you.